Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this latest video. Apache NetBeans Incubating 10 has just been released today, and so I thought I'd run very quickly through installing it on a Windows system. So that's what we're going to do. This is the first install, so you never know. All sorts of things could go wrong. So what do we actually need to do? Well, first of all, we need to download the binaries, and we download that from the NetBeans Apache website. The address is here, and I'll also put it below in the notes. We need to extract the downloaded zip and put it into a file. I would recommend that it's in the root of the C drive. NetBeans_10 probably be a good name. And we now need to check that we have a JDK on our system, and we do that by searching in program files to see if we've got a folder called Java, and then inside that to see which JDK we've got. If there's no folder called Java, you don't have a JDK and you'll need to download it. Once you've done that, we can go back to the NetBeans executable, and if you check your system to see whether you've got a 32-bit or a 64-bit operating system, most people will be running the 64-bit, so I recommend double-clicking on netbeans64.exe. NetBeans will load up. You're going to get a number of messages and dialogs. I recommend that you accept the defaults to install the extra plugins, and if you have a previous copy of NetBeans, to bring across your previous settings and that type of thing. So I would recommend that. And then finally, we will look at creating a desktop and a menu shortcut. That's what we're going to do today. Apache NetBeans, we go to download. Now, if it says 9 here, on your keyboard you need to press Control and F5. Control and F5 to refresh your page so that it actually reads Apache NetBeans 10. Then come down to Binaries here. You don't want the source unless you want to actually compile it yourself. You want the binaries. Click on the binaries and then accept the mirror which they suggest. And when you click on it, it will start to download. Now this will take a few minutes. Here it's saying that it's going to take about a minute or so, so we'll come back when that's finished. Okay, so that's downloaded. Double click on it and we should get, I'm using pzip, but if you double click on it, it will open in Manager if you don't have pzip. And you now want to extract it. So extract all. It doesn't really matter where you're going to extract it to, because it's going to make a folder and we're going to change the name of it. So click OK. This again will take a few minutes, so we'll come back when that's finished. You can see we're on 2%, so it will take a few minutes. Okay, so if we open our downloads folder, and you can see we downloaded it to here, we need to change the name, highlight it, press F2 on keyboard and type in NetBeans_10.0 and press enter. Now it's a good idea if it just goes to the root of your local drive, so you can just drag it over and drop it, and it will then copy it onto the root of your local drive. Another way of doing that is to right click, click cut, navigate to the root and click paste. This is going to take a moment or two. We'll come back when it's finished. Okay, so that's finished copying. We now need to check that we've got a Java JDK. So click on local disk C. You'll see our NetBeans here, but where we want to go is to program files, and you need to look for a folder marked Java. If you don't have a folder marked Java, you need to go and get your JDK. But if you do have a folder marked Java, you're looking for JDK 1 point something, and this is 1.8. Don't worry about the JRE, it's the JDK. You might want to have both JDK 8 and JDK 11 installed on your system because NetBeans 10 makes good use of JDK 11. I have this, but if you don't have it, you can then go to your browser, just type in JDK and press enter. You want either JDK Development Kit 11 or JDK 8. Click on the one you want, and you'll need to agree to various licenses. Come down and accept the license, and then look for Windows. And again, you can decide whether you want the exe, the executable, or the zip. I would just download the executable and install it on your system by clicking on it and following the instructions. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you now have JDK on your system. What do we do next? Well, next we come to our NetBeans 10, and you want the bin directory. So I've clicked on NetBeans 10, the bin directory. Now there are 3 files in here: NetBeans 64 exe, NetBeans exe, and NetBeans with no extension. Most people are using a 64-bit operating system, so you need to click on the NetBeans 64. If you get an error when you're running that, then you'll be using the 32-bit operating system, so just come back and use the 32-bit. The top one marked NetBeans is for Linux and the Mac, Apple Mac, so you don't want the top one. Right, so let's click on NetBeans 64.exe and wait for something to happen. Here we go. Sorry, I'm using 2 monitors and it's opened on the other monitor. It's found previous settings in NetBeans 9 and I do want to import them, so I'm going to click on yes. This will take a moment or two. We'll come back when it's finished. It's now starting the IDE. I would show you the splash screen, but it's on a different monitor. This is the NetBeans IDE 10. It's started to load in the IDE. As you can see, it needs to download the Oracle.js parser. So we'll click on Next, Accept, and Install. And that only takes a couple of seconds. It looks like there may be a problem because it says that this is broken for some reason. Okay. Before we go on to that, probably the reason it's broken is because there are some plugins which are needed by it. So I've clicked on the import plugins. Now, the top 3 are very important, so I would install those. I do like to have those plugins installed. I can do that one as well. Okay, so we'll click on those and click on import. This will take a moment and it says, do we want to restart? The answer is yes. It may again ask to install another library while you're doing the plugins, so accept installing the libraries. So we'll restart the IDE. Okay, so there's the IDE restarted. As you can see, jlavelle.uk is no longer broken because it needed some of those plugins. So if you get broken next to your file, it's because you haven't got all the plugins. It's building the dictionary. This will take a few minutes. That's NetBeans 10 installed. If we go to Tools and Options, You may find that certain items are not actually fully installed. For example, there's no C++ on here. It isn't actually in version 10 yet. If you want C++, you need to come to plugins. Oh, we do need to have that plugin, so I shall install it. And it's downloaded it. It's installing it. And click on Finish. And if we come to Settings, you'll see NetBeans 8.2 plugin portal is not active. So if you click on it to make it active, come to Updates and click on Check for Updates. You'll see there's a Bugzilla update, so I shall do that and continue. And it wants to restart the IDE, so we'll come back in a moment. Come to Tools, Plugins, Available Plugins. I'm going to just sort them by name, and you can see if you want C++, it's here, and you've got a number of other ones that you might want. So if you use REST and RESTful services, you might want to bring those in as well. Just depends on exactly what you need and what you want. I just really want the C++. I'm not going to use the SOAP services and the rest. Yes, I will. I'll bring the REST HTML5 client in because those are the ones I'm going to use. So install and next, accept, install. When you're installing the C++ and the REST HTML5 plugin, then you may find that it installs a number of other items. Don't worry too much about this. These are libraries that are required by the C and C++ plugin and the REST plugin. So it's now finished and it wants to restart the IDE. So we shall just do that and come back when it's restarted. That's the IDE restarted. We'll just give it a moment to come in. It is possible that some of the plugins have not activated. So just click on Tools, click on Plugins, and once it's initialized the list, click on Install, and you'll notice that there aren't the green ticks here. So click on the boxes next to it like that and click on Activate. It'll ask if you want to activate them, and it's decided it needs to install a couple of plugins while it's doing that. Not everything seems to have been activated, but if we click on Close, we click on Tools, we come to Options. If we click on Java, let's just see, Java Shell, it looks like that might need to be reactivated. Normally when you actually click on these, they will activate them if they're not already activated. NetBeans 10 activated and running. Now let's have a look at putting it on to the menu, and to do that what I recommend is I've created a link for you which will make it much quicker for you to actually access the start menu. So in File Manager you need to copy the link which is below and paste it, and as you can see it says appdata Microsoft Windows Start Menu. Oops, let's do that again. Once you're here, File Manager knows you're here, so go back to the NetBeans by clicking the back button. Right click on the version, the executable that you used, and click on Create a Shortcut. Then press F2 on the keyboard while the shortcut is highlighted and type in a meaningful name like NetBeans 10 and press enter. Now you want to cut this, so right click on cut, and then click on the forward button on the start menu, come to where it says programs, and in here you want to create a new folder, and we'll call that NetBeans space 10.0, and then open the folder and paste the shortcut into the folder, and there you have it on your menu. Okay, so that's how you install Apache NetBeans IDE 10 on the Windows computer. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. My name's John, and I'll see you next time.